Let's talk about a poison so incredibly potent, so unbelievably fast, that it literally turns your own body against you in a matter of minutes. It hijacks the command signals of your nervous system. Today, we are diving deep into the terrifying world of strychnine, the spinal poison.
And that brings us to a really haunting question, one that gets right to the core of this poison's horrifying power. What on earth could possibly force the human body to bend backward into a rigid, arched bow? And all while the person is completely, terrifyingly aware of everything that's happening. Okay, let's get into it.
You see, the answer is all in the body's absolutely violent reaction to this toxin. The symptoms are so unique, so specific, that they've been the subject of fascination and horror for centuries.
What's truly insane is how all these symptoms crash together at once. You've got opisthotonus, where the powerful muscles in the back and neck just completely overpower everything else, forcing the body into this brutal backward arch. At the same time, the facial muscles pull the lips back into this ghastly grimace called risus sardonicus, the sardonic grin. But the absolute worst part? The victim is awake for all of it. Full, clear consciousness trapped inside their own body as it wages war on itself.
So you have to wonder, where does a poison this vicious even come from? Well, you might be surprised to learn that its origins are completely natural. Strychnine is what's known as an alkaloid. It's a natural compound that comes from the seeds of the Strychnos nux vomica tree, which you might know by its more fitting name, the poison nut tree. It's native to India, and while pretty much the whole tree is toxic, the real concentrated danger is packed inside those little seeds. And the potency, it's just staggering. We're talking about a fatal dose for a grown adult being as little as 15 to 50 milligrams. To put that in perspective, that's about how much strychnine you'd find in a single crushed seed. Now, if you swallow the seed whole, it might just pass right through you. But the moment it's crushed, it unleashes its deadly poison.
Okay, so just how does one tiny crushed seed cause such a complete and catastrophic system failure? Well, the answer isn't on the surface. It's down at the microscopic level, in the way strychnine hijacks our entire nervous system.
To get this, you need to know about a crucial chemical messenger in your body called glycine. The easiest way to think about glycine is as the brake pedal for your muscles. When your brain tells a muscle to flex, glycine is the signal that comes in right after to say, okay, you can stop now, relax. It's what we call an inhibitory neurotransmitter, and it's absolutely essential for any kind of controlled movement. Without it, there's no off switch. So here's the chain reaction inside the body. First, the strychnine gets into the bloodstream and makes a beeline for the spinal cord. Once it's there, it basically acts like a key that breaks off inside a lock. It physically blocks the special receptors that are waiting for glycine. So the brake signals, the stop signals, they're being sent, but they have nowhere to go. The off switch is completely disabled. The result? The nerves just keep firing and firing, telling every single muscle to contract with nothing to hold them back.
And let me be perfectly clear here. The poison itself isn't telling the muscles to contract. What it's doing is preventing them from ever getting the signal to relax. And that is why every single muscle, from the tiniest ones that make you smile to the huge ones in your back, all fire at the exact same time, completely and uncontrollably.
So let's put ourselves in the victim's shoes for a moment. The sheer speed at which this all happens is one of the most terrifying things about it. This is the body under siege. Within just 30 minutes of ingestion, it starts. A bitter taste, a deep sense of dread and anxiety, and then the muscle twitches begin. By the time you hit the 1-hour mark, the first massive, violent, full-body convulsion hits. The whole ordeal is brutally short, usually just 1 to 2 hours from start to finish. Death almost always comes after a series of 4 or 5 of these terrible episodes, typically from asphyxiation because the respiratory muscles are just locked up.
And each one of these convulsions can last for up to 2 agonizing minutes, and the body becomes so hypersensitive that the slightest thing, a touch, a loud noise, even a sudden bright light can trigger the next one. But here's the truly cruel part. In between these fits, the muscles go completely limp. They totally relax, giving this false hope of recovery before the whole cycle starts all over again, every 5 to 15 minutes.
This quote, man, it just perfectly captures the psychological horror. This isn't just a physical ordeal, it's a mental one. The victim is a prisoner in their own body, fully, horribly aware of every single second.
Now let's switch gears a little. For investigators who arrive at a scene like this, the symptoms can look eerily similar to another condition you've probably heard of, tetanus or lockjaw.
And that presents a major diagnostic challenge. So the question they have to answer is absolutely critical. Are we looking at a poisoning or is this an infection? Telling the difference could be what decides if a death is ruled a murder or if it's from natural causes.
Luckily, the key differences are all in the details. Strychnine poisoning hits you all at once. It's sudden. Tetanus, on the other hand, develops gradually over time. Tetanus often starts in the jaw, that's why they call it lockjaw, but strychnine hits the whole body at once. And here's the biggest giveaway: what happens between the fits. With strychnine, the muscles go completely limp and relax. With tetanus, they stay pretty rigid. And of course, there's the timeline. 1 to 2 hours for strychnine versus more than a full day for tetanus.
Now, thankfully, modern medicine isn't helpless here, but treatment is an absolute race against the clock. The very first step is to get rid of any triggers, so the patient is put in a dark, quiet room. The convulsions themselves are controlled with sedatives, something like diazepam, and then barbiturates can be used as a direct antidote. All the while, doctors are working to get the poison out of the body with stomach washes and activated charcoal to soak up anything that's left.
When you think about it, strychnine is fascinating because it doesn't really destroy your cells or shut down your organs. It just removes the stop signal. It turns the body's own perfect communication system into its executioner. And that leaves us with one final thought. What does a poison like this really tell us about the incredibly delicate, fragile biological balance that keeps every single one of us alive?